What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about. So I read a lot of Steemians on Twitter that basically wrote that they got banned, or not banned, but they got blocked by Justin Sun on Twitter, especially when they talked, when they wrote to him, and you can see that a lot of Steemians are very upset about this because they want to get this fixed. The Steam hostile takeover that is still ongoing, and it's been going for, I think right now, around 30 days. Very long time. And I really wish that it would be over so much quicker, but it is still going on. Okay, so my thoughts on this is, well, it would be nice if people could work together, because I think the Steam community really want like win-win with Justin Sun. You can see it on Justin Sun's first posts on the Steam blockchain. He got a lot of support, a lot of Steam sent to him on those posts, and it looked like it would be a great collaboration. And then we had this situation. We got a soft fork from the witnesses that felt that they needed to do this to protect the chain. And then we saw centralized exchanges getting involved with Justin Sun, and the horrors that the Steam witnesses warned may happen, did happen. The unthinkable happened. So we can see that, according to my judgment, it seems like the soft fork that the witnesses implemented to protect the Steam community and the Steam chain was appropriate action. You can also, I mean, if you see Steemit Inc. and how they talked, it seems like they had not so good communication with Ned. Because it seems like Ned just went and sold it without talking to maybe Eli and some of the other in Steemit Inc. So it seems like the judgment was correct from the witnesses, that they wanted to find out more about the situation. And then you see the situation with Steemit Inc. that almost everyone resigns. So again, there it seems like that was also. Then over there, it seems like people at Steemit Inc. don't even like the company anymore, and they want to go in an independent way, and they have done so now. For example, Anarchy, and there were a couple of more, I think Roadscape perhaps. So you can see that, okay, there is something more going on here. A couple of weeks ago, a ton of Steam users got blocked by Ned on Twitter. And now they're being blocked by Justin Sun on Twitter. So they can't even communicate with him, and they can't even solve this situation. So it's this weird situation, because I don't see in any way where Tron and Justin can win this one. Because yeah, I don't see it happen, because the moment you power that down, if you would power down that Steemit Inc. stake, then eventually the real witnesses would get in again, because they would have majority stake, and then they would still be in control again. And then they, you know, and then we would be back at this situation where the soft fork happened around a month ago. So we would just kind of go back to that date. So my situation of these recent blockings on Twitter, it seems like he doesn't want to talk to Steemians anymore. And it seems like it's kind of in this very strange role, because even if you would get that kind of stake out of the whole Steam ecosystem, even if you would try to sell it, I checked out the liquidity on Coin Paprika, and it said that Steam's liquidity is around like 18 Bitcoin or like 200K. And that's the whole stake is supposed to be, I think, maybe 40 million, but then Steam went down, so I'm not even sure if it's 5 million anymore. And if it only has support for 200k liquidity, that means that if you try to sell, I think, like, and I'm not a trader, I'm not a financial advisor, but I guess that kind of means that even if you would get all that stake out of Steam and try to sell it, you probably cannot sell more than like 1 million Steam per week. So you would like, so it would take like 2 or 3 years to like sell that off if you don't want to sell it for like 1 cent. So, and then we have it that if you unstake that, it doesn't even get the inflation rewards anymore by being powered up as Steam power on the Steam blockchain. So you would miss out on all that inflation. So, and if that stake still is just going to sit on an exchange, it doesn't really make any sense. Like, it doesn't really make any sense to move it at all, because you would just earn more with inflation rewards. And just because you can't sell it either way, because the liquidity is not that high, it makes it so I don't really understand this situation. It's just like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all for me. Like, logically, I try to like see it like, what is the point? What is the point of going against the witnesses that currently is on the chain? I don't think the current Steam witnesses that has been elected by democracy and like decentralized tokens, why would they go against the chain and the Steam community? Doesn't really make any sense, because they are elected by the community. So they're gonna make decisions that the community likes, or they would not get any votes anymore. So it's like, and now it's like in this weird position. It's like, okay, maybe he buys more Steam. Okay, maybe if you get all the top 20 positions again, what then? Like, are you gonna try to do like a hard fork, you know? And if that happens, like, those tokens are really not gonna be worth anything. They're gonna probably be worth even less, because then you don't even have probably the Steam community, because maybe you get a split. So, and then it's like open source software, so why didn't he just start his own chain? Like, he could very easily start his own chain, because this software is kind of open source, I think. Like, don't quote me on that, but I think it is. Like, you can start your own kind of chain. It's like open source or decentralized. I mean, that's the whole point of this. Like, we can create our own communities, we can create our own tokens. But and maybe he thought that he could buy a community. Maybe he thought he can buy Steemians out. But it doesn't really work that way. It's like, you know, it's like on Steam, we're trying to build unity. That's the way I see it. Like, we're trying to build unity. We're trying to really build win-win system and come together and really do amazing stuff. But we Steemians see that this is going to take a long time, and that we have to win-win. Like, we have to actually talk to people. We actually have to communicate with people. And then we see these recent events where it's just like, because on Twitter, like, yeah, you can block people and you can't no longer like see their pages. So Steemians can no longer see Justin Sun on Twitter. So they can't even work together with him and like try to solve this situation. Well, if the communication would be on the Steam blockchain, you would be able to mute, and you would still be able to see their pages. But just because a lot of people are dependent on centralized Twitter, you get into this weird situation where Twitter has so much power, and it's like, okay, you can't even see this person's page anymore, and it's like, you can't even like communicate back and forth. And then one thing I don't really understand is, he must have known that Steam was a work in progress. It's like this, that it would take years to work with the Steemians. If you really genuinely want to build something up, you really have to work for it. He bought a token, or he bought Steemit Inc. supposedly, when the Steam token is only up like 2.5x since its all-time low a couple of years ago. He must have known that he did not buy when it was like 100x higher. He bought something that was extremely low at the moment, so he must have been aware that if you buy this, you can't really, there's nothing to cash out, right? Because you have an illiquid token. So then it's like, and then we saw some chats he did where he said he did not care at all about Steam, that it was one of his small investments, and that he doesn't really care that much if it wasn't for the tokens or something like that, I think he said. But then it seems like he did not even, it seems like he wasn't aware that it was not even a liquid token. And then it seems like there may was some miscommunication with Ned and Steemit Inc. Maybe they gave false information or something like that. But even, I think even Eli said that Justin Sun and Tron, that they knew that the Steam stake may be frozen, because it seems like they already knew about the history about the Steemit Inc. stake, and that it's promised community stake from both of the founders multiple times in videos, in text. So there seems to be a lot of things that doesn't really make any sense here. Because it seems like, yeah, eventually the witnesses are going to come back, and the only way where those tokens are going to be valuable again, you know, compared to the USD price paid, I think it was 10 million USD or something like that. The only way that's going to go up in value is if you invest in the Steam ecosystem, and that's going to take like decades. It's going to take many, many decades. So it's very like a long-term project, the Steam blockchain. And I don't think that people will like it when it looks like someone just can like buy it quick and like make their own rules, like we're gonna do this now, throw out all these other things. No, this is like a decentralized ecosystem, and people are like shareholders. So we are like the token holders, we're like the shareholders, the Steemians. So like we decide like what happens using democracy. So it's very sad to see these block events, because then people can't communicate back and forth, and then it's never gonna be resolved. So at the moment, it seems like it's never gonna be resolved, right? It seems like this is gonna drag out for many months, and it probably will. And it's also very weird in many situations, also because this use such involves so many people. Now even his friends on the exchanges that he may even have lied to, if he involves them again, if you want to sell all those tokens, it's like he's involving them again in a ton of drama. And it's like, do you really want to do that? You know, is that nice? So it's like, Steemians are a community with thousands of people. And it's like a lot of people making a living on this. A lot of people are dependent on this ecosystem. It's an ecosystem now. Like, it's not something that started yesterday. It's like people actually depend on this. People are building businesses around it, and like people are serious about building a Steam career. So it's like when you're this many years in, around 4 or 5 years into the Steam world, it's like you can't really do massive changes. You just can't. There are too many people involved, right? If you want to do something like that, you need to start a new chain and like build something from scratch, right? Can't hijack a community, right? It's just weird, right? Because you have like this is like real people involved, like real human beings that are using systems to improve their life. You know. So yeah, that's my thoughts a little bit. It's very sad seeing these recent blocking events. And yeah, it's hard to see going forward how this is going to go. Yeah, we just have to wait and see, right? Have a great day, YouTube and Steam blockchain.